What is your absolutely favorite quote you've heard? The only hypocrite I like is myself. There is considerable overlap between the intelligence of the smartest bears and the dumbest tourist, Yellowstone Park Ranger. It's okay to go through awful places, just don't stop and unpack. How lucky am I to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard? Winnie the Pooh. Be as you wish to see, Monsieur Socrates. This is a solid foundation for life. Emo. I never wonder to see men wicked, but I often wondered to see them not ashamed. Jonathan Swift. Or, everything in moderation, including moderation. Oscar Wilde. Asterisk, the master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried. Asterisk. Or, the more simplified version from Jake the Dog. Asterisk, sucking at something is the first step towards being sorta good at something. Asterisk. One moment of patience, in a moment of anger, can save 1,000 moments of regret. Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The slogan "Press On" has solved, and always will solve, the problems of the human race. Calvin Coolidge. When you do things right, people won't be sure you've done anything at all. The Space Cloud from Futurama. Loneliness does not come from having no one around us, but instead being unable to communicate the things that matter most to us. Carl Jung. Might be S-word or two off. Even the finest sword plunged into salt water will eventually rust. Sun Tzu. Happiness is to be found along the way, not at the end of the road. Robert Updigrath. The only reason you should look into your neighbor's bowl is to make sure they have enough to eat. For when you're speeding, when you're running late, better late in this life than early in the next. My grandma, who died of breast cancer, told me this once not long before she died. Has really stuck with me for whatever reason. Edit. Well, thank you for my first gold. Today is a good day indeed. Are you having a bad day? Or did you have a bad 5 minutes and are letting it ruin your whole day? Quote. And #X200B. Honestly got this off an AskReddit video. But it's a pretty good one. Emo. Asterisk. Eventually, all our graves go unattended. Asterisk. Conan O'Brien. When you are good at something, you will tell everyone. When you are great, everyone will tell you. It is not the critic who counts. Not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Theodore Roosevelt. I don't remember where I heard it, but I try to live by it now. Asterisk. If you have a problem, and then you spend a bunch of energy worrying and fretting about it, then you have __2__problems. Asterisk. Edit. This quote, philosophy existed long before "don't worry, be happy." But I'd take that any day over being told it came from Newt fucking Scamander. I get it. It's in the Harry Potter spin-off. Have you ever noticed that anybody driving slower than you is an idiot, and anyone going faster than you is a maniac? George Carlin. I do not love the bright sword for its sharpness, nor the arrow for its swiftness, nor the warrior for his glory, I love only that which they defend. Faramir. J.R.R. Tolkien. Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. Edit. Thank you for the gold. Also, this has made me so happy to see how many other people appreciate this quote. It's truly one of my absolute favorites, trying to work it into a tattoo design. If the world breaks your legs, you go and beat it with your crutch. George Watsky. Often, the less there is to justify a traditional custom, the harder it is to get rid of it. Mark Twain. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Seneca. Any fool can be happy. It takes a man with real heart to make beauty out of the stuff that makes us weep. Clive Barker. If you look for the darkness, that's all you will ever see. But if you look for the light, often you will find it. Iro. Fate rarely calls upon us at a moment of our choosing. Optimus Prime. Never quit. Make them fire you. Guy who got fired. Guy the first used to work with. Name withheld. I was new to the job, having a tough time, and I was really feeling like I wasn't cut out for the work and considering quitting. This guy, who'd been on the job a lot longer, told me that, and while it was simple, it stuck with me. They hadn't fired me yet, so clearly I wasn't screwing up as badly as I thought I was. No sense in beating myself up over something even before the bosses do. If not for him, I probably would have quit and never given myself the chance to actually get better. I've all sad words of tongue or pen. The saddest are these. It might have been John Greenleaf Whittier. I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them. Andy Bernard. The Office. It's only after we've lost everything that we're free to do anything. Fight Club. If they can make penicillin out of moldy bread, they can make something out of you. Muhammad Ali. You fucking donut. Of course you don't microwave a salad. Gordon Ramsay. Biology is really chemistry. Chemistry is really physics. Physics is really math. Math is really hard. Oh, the don't rape people class. I can teach this in 10 seconds. Look. Never touch. But it's okay to look. Just never touch unless they say it's okay. Random drill sergeant who burst in the room during my basic training sexual assault prevention class. If at first you don't succeed, then skydiving definitely isn't for you. Stephen Wright. People say nothing is impossible, but I do nothing every day. A.A. Milne. Have you ever been in love? Horrible, isn't it? It makes you so vulnerable. It opens your chest and it opens up your heart, and it means that someone can get inside you and mess you up. You build up all these defenses. You build up this whole armor for years, so nothing can hurt you. Then one stupid person, no different from any other stupid person, wanders into your stupid life. You give them a piece of you. They don't ask for it. They do something dumb one day like kiss you, or smile at you, and then your life isn't your own anymore. Love takes hostages. It gets inside you. It eats you out and leaves you crying in the darkness. So a simple phrase like, maybe we should just be friends, or how very perceptive, turns into a glass splinter working its way into your heart. It hurts. Not just in the imagination. Not just in the mind. It's a soul hurt. A body hurt. A real gets inside you and rips you apart pain. Nothing should be able to do that. Especially not love. I hate love. Neil Gaiman. The Kindly Ones. It is possible to make no mistakes and lose. That is not failure. That is life. Captain Jean-Luc Picard. One that just deserves to be shared. The problem with defending the purity of the English language is that English is about as pure as a crib house whore. We don't just borrow words. On occasion, English has pursued other languages down alleyways to beat them unconscious and rifle their pockets for new vocabulary. James Nichol. My actual favorite that accurately describes my worldview on hobbies. Critics who treat adult as a term of approval, instead of as a merely descriptive term, cannot be adult themselves. To be concerned about being grown up, to admire the grown-up because it is grown up, to blush at the suspicion of being childish. These things are the marks of childhood and adolescence. And in childhood and adolescence they are, in moderation, healthy symptoms young things ought to want to grow. But to carry on into middle life or even into early manhood, this concern about being adult is a mark of really arrested development. When I was 10, I read fairy tales in secret and would have been ashamed if I had been found doing so. Now that I am 50, I read them openly. When I became a man, I put away childish things, including the fear of childishness and the desire to be very grown up. C.S. Lewis. If you meet 3 assholes before lunch, you're the asshole. Greater than there's power in the touch of another person's hand. We acknowledge it in little ways. All the time. There's a reason human beings shake hands, hold hands, slap hands, bump hands. It comes from our very earliest memories, when we all come into the world blinded by light and color, deafened by riotous sound, flailing in a suddenly cavernous space without any way of orienting ourselves, shuddering with cold, emptied with hunger, and justifiably frightened and confused. And what changes that first horror? That original state of terror? The touch of another person's hands. Hands that wrap us in warmth, that hold us close. Hands that guide us to shelter, to comfort, to food. Hands that hold and touch and reassure us through our very first crisis, and guide us into our very first shelter from pain. The first thing we ever learn is that the touch of someone else's hand can ease pain and make things better. That's power. That's power so fundamental that most people never even realize it exists. Skin Game by Jim Butcher. A ship is safe in harbor, but that's not what ships are for. Blowing out someone else's candle doesn't make yours shine brighter. A boat doesn't sink because it's in water, it sinks when it lets the water in. I guess if you want children beaten, you have to do it yourself. Bender. The greatest cruelty is our casual blindness to the despair of others. What is the one thing better than an exquisite meal? An exquisite meal with one tiny flaw: we can pick it all night. Frasier. A straight line may be the shortest distance between 2 points, but it is by no means the most interesting. Doctor Who. Overwhelm them with power, overtake them with grace. It's easy to look at people and make quick judgments about them, their present and their past, but you'd be amazed at the pain and tears a single smile hides. What a person shows to the world is only one tiny facet of the iceberg hidden from sight. And more often than not, it's lined with cracks and scars that go all the way to the foundation of their soul. Sherilyn Kenyon.